Welcome in to the Fantasy Advantage, where I'm giving you the advantage in fantasy football. In this episode, I'm getting into players that I'm not going to touch. Last week I did a players that I'm going to get all the shares of. This week I want to go a little opposite and put out the players that I'm just not going to have any shares of this year because I don't believe in them and I want no part of them. So I'm going to get right into it per usual. You know the drill here. Let's go. Player number 1, Travis Kelce. I think that the good old days for him, they're all done. Not that he can't still have like a pretty solid year, but I don't think it's very viable to expect a top 1, 2, or 3 season from him anymore. He was the first or second tight end in points per game in every season from 2016 to 2023. But last year, that dropped to 7th, and he averaged 15.7 avoided tackles, which seemed kind of high to me per game, like I've talked about before. But last year, he had about 4 a game. So like he's obviously losing a bit of a step. He was also averaging 6.2 yards after the catch until last year, which also dropped to 3.5. I touched up on some of this in the last tight end rank video, but in the games that he played with Rashee Rice in the first 3 before he got hurt, he got 8 catches for 69 yards and not any touchdowns. This was over 3 games, a 3-game span with Rice going crazy last year. Now, Rice being back, and of course there's this looming suspension. It's coming. We don't know how many games, whether, we just got the info out on this. It's looking roughly 2 to 4 games, but that's not that many, and he'll be back. But with him, Hollywood, and then like the gadgeted plays for Worthy that they're going to instill into the system throughout the season, all of those players, even like Noah Gray, getting a little bit more work. He started getting more work in the red zone last year. I think that's going to definitely pull away from Kelce because I think they want to come on strong with their offense and throw a little bit more and like not play that really slow paced like possession game. They want to put up points. They're going to be a little mad about last season and people starting to doubt them. So yeah, I think this is all going to hurt Kelce's overall value, and we're not going to be able to get as much out of him. His price isn't really crazy. He's going in like the 7th or 8th round. He is at the tight end 6 for ADP, but honestly, I would take Andrews, Ingram, or Njoku all after him and feel a lot better than having him on my team, and that's why I'm not going to take him. I'm out on Kelce. Now, the next guy we're going to get into, I know there's a lot of hype around him. He won the Heisman. He looked amazing on the field in Colorado. But Travis Hunter, he has to deal with Brian Thomas Jr. being on the team and being on the other side of the field. And I don't care what anyone says, like BTJ, he is the alpha. He's amazing at football, man. He's really great at his position. And on top of all of that, you've got to think about Travis Hunter's main reason he was drafted when he was. He can play both sides of the ball, and because of that, he's going to miss like some of his reps. Like he's not going to get as many reps on offense. They want him to stay healthy. They're going to try to keep him on the field all year, so he's going to get less chances, not as many chances as some of the other guys on the team are because of that. Like Prime himself said, Deion Sanders, he said that he needs to polish up some of his wide receiver game, but he could walk on the field right now and be one of the best corners in the game. And I don't believe I can't imagine that there's any chance that the Jags are going to be like, we only want him on offense. And honestly, when he got to the team, they've wanted him practicing offense way more because that's why he needs more work on offense. He can do all the stuff on defense like naturally and just fine. He needs the practice in offense. So at least for this year, I'm not taking him in like redrafts and stuff. He's probably okay. Like in an IDP dynasty, he's fine, but or even in IDP like redraft, he'd probably be just fine. But I don't want to take my chance on him this year. And again, he's a wide receiver 30 in ADP around the 6th, 7th round. And it's not like that's overly expensive. But these are the people that you can get after him. Chris Olave, Jordan Addison, Chris Godwin, Jerry Jeudy, Calvin Ridley, Jacoby Myers. I think every single one of those guys, I would have more faith in having a better year this year than him. I have way more trust in them. For this reason, I have to pass up on him. It's not worth the ADP. If he fell back like 3 or 4 more rounds, that's when I would start thinking about it. But there's too much more value around there that I have a firm belief in. And his Vegas line for yards this year, 750. So there's no expectation of him like exploding onto the scene. So at least for this year, count me out on Travis Hunter. The third guy's going to piss a lot of people off. I know this is something that's going to have people coming for my neck. I get it, especially because of recent events. So I don't hold this one as hard, but Omarion Hampton. So I have a line of data that I've created. I call it the True Yards Created. And it's something that I'm in the works of. I want to get a couple years or like 3 years of data before I really start pushing it. I've put it out and put some data out on my Twitter. You can go back and find it. And essentially what it is I look at college running backs the year that they're getting drafted. I've done it since Bijan Robinson's year, his class. And I collect data, I go through, and I literally watch every single rep that's available to me from their most recent season. And I look at all the little nuances and things that they do. Everything they do from, how great his vision was. Like, did he pick the right hole? Was he patient? Did he make a guy miss? Did he break a tackle? And not just normal tackles, like arm tackles. I'm talking real tackles. Like, did he break physical contact? And everything that he did, and all of that stuff I count towards like yards that he created. It basically just negates what the O-line work was. And, I don't take away from the O-line sucking. It kind of like evens the playing field out. I don't negate him for the O-line sucking, but I don't give him credit where the O-line did all the work. It sort of shows like what they do, and to like create their own yards and plays and getting in the end zone, big plays, things like that. Yeah. Omarion Hampton's the worst grade I've got so far. It feels like when you're watching on film, I get it. I was psyched about the guy until I did this. It feels like he's good, or, it looks like he should be really good. And again, I could be wrong. This is data that is pretty new, but I don't like it. So far, it hasn't been too far off. Like Zach Evans a few years ago was a huge, a lot of people really liked him. And my data showed that he wasn't very good. And look where he is now. He's like on the Jets practice squad. So, Bijan Robinson had a really good score. The only person who so far is kind of an outlier is Achane. And I think it's really because I think his speed saves him. He's just so fast. I think that's why. And the best score so far has been Janty this year, and Devin Neal actually has a very good score. Cam Scadaboo, someone who's got a very good score. So these are guys that I really believe in. So all of that aside, let's move on. So the Chargers, they really do like to run the ball under Harbaugh. I get it. But Najee's the RB1 there. They say even with the injury that happened on July 4th, that he's going to be just fine for training camp, ready for the year. So as far as I'm concerned, he's still there. They signed him also for, his hit is over $4 million, which isn't a lot of money technically, but it's more than Hampton. And if they paid the guy, I feel like they're going to try to keep him on the field more, and try to play him. And he's the veteran guy. He's been in the league. I think that he's getting the first crack at it. And even if Hampton gets more work in like the second half of the season, I'm not drafting him in the 4th round that he's going right now. I'm not taking him there and like waiting half a year for him to get to a point where I feel comfortable starting him. So for me, unfortunately, it bums me out that the data came out the way it did, and I'm just out on Hampton, at least for this year. If he proves me wrong this year and he's great, then I'm by all means, I'm back in. But from what I've seen so far, I am very hesitant at his cost. This next dude, I've been trying to convince everybody to not draft this guy. No offense to him. A guy I've always loved in the league. I don't love his situation. It's DK Metcalf. He's not a bad player. Like I said, it's the situation he's in. I'm going to give a little context as to why, and I think a lot of other people should listen to this. To start, he's finished as a top 10 wide receiver one time in his career in fantasy. To point out, in fantasy. One time his whole career so far. And that's back with Russ in Seattle when he was like actually still slinging the ball, when Russ actually cooked. And now he went to Pittsburgh. Retirement home Rodgers, and in my opinion, the biggest issue being Arthur Smith. The reason I don't like Arthur Smith, there's a few, but he was the OC in Tennessee for 2019 and 2020. He had A.J. Brown as his wide receiver 1, and the 2 finishes he had were wide receiver 21 and wide receiver 12. Now, the season he was in, he ended at wide receiver 12. He had 70 catches for 1,075 yards and 11 touchdowns. He was getting a little bit of luck on the big play stuff. So I don't think that's going to work, especially in Arthur Smith's system. Now, like, if you want to look at, so an example of what I'm talking about is like Nico Collins. Last season, he had 68 catches for over 1,000 yards in 12 games. It's not common for the 70 catch, 1,000 yard, 11 touchdown to be a thing. And that feels really low. All of those stats feel really low because it was also a 16 game season. And that feels kind of low, and it just worked out. I think a couple guys were injured. So yeah, like, I'm just putting like a comparison. Like, Nico did that in 12 games last year. That's not sustainable to be a top anything as a wide receiver anymore. Then Arthur Smith went to Atlanta, and Pitts was his leading receiver in 2021. Now, he didn't have a lot of skill in the wide receiver room. I kind of can't hate on him too bad for that, but it's not great when it doesn't matter. It's not great when Pitts is your tight end is your leading receiver. In 2022, Drake London came to town, and he only got 72 and then 69 receptions in the 22 and 23 season with Arthur Smith. In those seasons, he finished as a wide receiver 31 or worse. And as soon as he left Atlanta, guess what? Drake London, top 5 wide receiver. Tell me that all of this isn't correlated with him. And then you got to think about this too. Like, Arthur Smith, he really loves the run game. A lot of people know, like, those teams were very strong in their run game. And now he's coming over and he's playing with Mike Tomlin. I just drew a huge blank. He's playing with Mike Tomlin, who's the exact same way. So, in my opinion, DK's he's not going to get enough volume, man. He's not worth picking before players like Cortland Sutton, J-Mo, George Pickens, all of these guys that are like going to go 2 rounds at least later and are way worth it in the offensive systems that they're in. And he will, without a doubt, outscore him, in my opinion. So don't buy DK Metcalf, especially at his ADP. My advice is to literally stay away. If he goes another like 3 rounds later, scoop him up all you can. He's fine if he's like an extra flex with some upside for sure, but I don't want him. Oh, and also a quick note. Yeah, Rodgers doesn't like players that don't separate. and DK doesn't do that very well. He's like literally bottom 2 of like 90 something on next gen stats last year. Yeah, that's not who Aaron Rodgers throws the ball to, so that could be an issue, and I could see DK Metcalf having like a very disappointing season. So yeah, I'm out. Next guy, this one hurts a little bit, and like the more I think about it, I feel like maybe I could be wrong, but I don't know. I can't find it within me to do this. I can't draft Garrett Wilson. I love him as a player, man. I love his skill. I love his talent. I do. I hate his situation. I hate it. He's on the Jets, man. It's hard not to think about that anytime. I mean, any Jets player, essentially, right? It's hard not to think about you're on the New York Jets. Especially with a QB like Fields, who in fantasy, I do like Fields a lot, but he's not known for like really good passing. It's just not his forte. Wilson has gained 12. Garrett Wilson has gained 1,200 yards. 1,100 yards 2 times out of his 3 seasons and 1,000 yards in between those 2. Problem is, he was only wide receiver 21 and then 26 in those first 2 years. And then last year, he was wide receiver 10. He also had the best reception rate last year with Rodgers throwing him the ball, who can actually throw an accurate ball, and Wilson can separate. And with a guy like Fields, I don't think that's going to happen. I think his reception rate's going to drop again. You have to get him in the late 3rd to early 4th. You're not going to get him later than that. And there's some like mocks and a couple of real drafts I've done where he's gone earlier. I don't love it. There's a lot of players after him that I feel more confident in, like McLaurin. As long as things get figured out over there, that's getting scary now, but we'll see. He could get traded to a better situation, so whatever. But just planning as things are normal, McLaurin I would want before him. Mike Evans I would rather have. Rashee Rice, I just realized I didn't fix this list since that news, but I would probably now take him over Rashee because of the games being missed. I'd rather just have Wilson. But Devontae Adams is someone that I would gladly take over Garrett Wilson. Also, their coach is very defensive-minded, and starting a new scheme, having Breece Hall there, Fields being part of this new scheme while also running the ball alongside Fields. I've been seeing a lot of posts where Hall and Fields are like buddy-buddy. So I don't think there's enough volume to go around in the offense in general where I feel good about Wilson having a really good season, like a top 10 plus season. I'm a little skeptical of even having him be like a top 15, and that's what sketches me out. I'd rather take these other guys around him and after him. I feel a lot better about him. Last dude, I've gotten into a bit of a conversation recently about this guy. And I actually posted a tweet. I'm going to pop that up here. Going to tattoo his name on me if he finishes as the wide receiver 5 or better in points per game. Xavier Worthy's been getting a lot of hype, and I think people are getting way too carried away. Again, like a lot of these guys, as I've said, it's not a skill issue. It's nothing to do with his talent per se. It's just that I don't see him getting the work above Rashee, Brown, and then of course the combination of Kelce and Gray, those guys getting involved. Like I talked about Travis earlier, I don't think Kelce's going to be out of the offense. I just don't think he's going to have the same fantasy year, but he's still there. He's going to get plays that Mahomes wants him to get the ball. He's got to, battle his way through Hollywood Brown and Rashee Rice once he's back from his, I'll call it 3-game suspension. Like, it's just not viable for people to be going insane. Okay. Like, we've got to pump the brakes on Worthy and take it easy. If you look at last season, he had command of the wide receiver room. The wide receiver room was his. Everybody got hurt. Hollywood and Rice were gone. They were out for the year. He finished as the wide receiver 33. Tell me why that's so convincing. Like, all these people are banging the drum that Worthy's just going to be this insane talent and go off this year. He's not going to, man. He's not going to. Stop with this. He'll have some designed plays for him. He's going to have good games, I'm sure. But it's not going to be, you're not going to be comfortable starting him every week. Or even most weeks, I would assume, more often than not. There'll be some weeks in some really soft pass defenses where you can probably feel better about starting him. But as a whole, I don't want to draft somebody that I just don't feel comfortable starting games on my team. Rice is the clear favorite. I mean, if he's on the field, he's getting the ball force-fed. Mahomes feeds him the ball. Look at the first 3 games last year. It's just how it's going to be. Hollywood is a good player, and now that he's finally got the full offseason, he's going to work with the offense and work with Mahomes. He's going to have a much better and he'll be on the field, so he'll have a good year. Those two are going to take so much of that work, and Worthy right now is going in the 5th or 6th round, okay, as like the wide receiver 3 at best on his team. Also, Jalen Royals. We can't forget, now with this Rice suspension, Royals gets a chance. He's got that X build and skill set. He's got a chance to get on the field and show what he's got. And if he does, I think that takes even more work away from Worthy. Just remember this. Remember this when we're halfway through the season. Just remember this. But he's going to the 5th or 6th round. He's going before guys like Pickens, Jamo, Olave, Addison, Godwin, Ridley, Jacoby Myers, the same list from earlier. He's another guy going before them, and all of these dudes are guys that I will take over him. You can get them multiple rounds later too. Like, that's the biggest part of this, is these are guys you can get so late, and Worthy's not going to finish better than them, in my opinion, or at least he'll be close. And why would you get him where he's going to finish close to the guys 3 rounds later? If close, he might not even be, they could finish better than him. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't know where this is coming from, because Worthy go fast. That's not enough for me to think, yeah, he's the next Tyreek Hill. There's so many more options. Hill was the main focused option, other than like some Kelsey sometimes, for Hill or for Mahomes. So that's not the situation in this offense, and the identity of the offense just being different. It's not the same high-flying offense. At best, he's going before these guys that are wide receiver 1s or 2s on their team, and he's maybe wide receiver 3, potentially like 2B at best. Kind of what I was saying before. I'm just reiterating. It's not. It doesn't make sense in my head. And me and a guy that I'm in a content creator chat with had a big conversation, a lot of back and forth on this, and he says he's got top 5 floor. No, he doesn't. I'm not taking him. So that's why I put that out there on X, that I will do that. So, because I'm that confident. He's not going to do it. Stop buying him. I'm telling you, you're going to be disappointed. So those are my players. Like the guys I'm not touching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I appreciate everybody who stuck through and watched this. As I always say, please comment. Let's talk. Give me anything you want. Let me know some guys you aren't touching. Some dudes maybe if you agree with this list. Maybe a couple guys you disagree with. I'm open to just good, mature conversation about it. I will put my X down in the description. You can go follow me on there. I put out more content there, and I post like video stuff there and just other bits and information. I talk a lot of football there. So yeah, again, thank you for coming by. I appreciate everybody that does. I appreciate all the love I've been getting so far this off season. So yeah, again, thank you. Have a good rest of your day.